Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I would love to see faces if you can show your faces today. That would be great. Welcome to Starting Your Business in Illinois. My name's Maura Mitchell. I am Managing Director of Entrepreneurial Services Division 2. And I work under the Illinois SBDC at the Women's Business Development Center. The SBDC is a small business development center. There are 42 of them in the state of Illinois, and we have one under our rooftop here at the Women's Business Development Center. We get funded by the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, and we're asked to do Starting Your Business in Illinois twice a month. So we do that. Thank you for attending today. I hope the news that I give you helps you. Remember, you can always come to our website and learn about more training sessions and sign up for one-on-one advising sessions. So again, my name is Maura Mitchell. I have been at the Women's Business Development Center for over 6 years. I'm a lawyer and I have an MBA in finance, and I help my family run a manufacturing business. I'm not involved in the day-to-day, but I do help on the strategic planning board. So we start talking about trends in the industry and trends in the economy and try to prepare for what is ahead. Running a business is not easy, though. There is always something. You think everything's going well, and then all of a sudden something like COVID happens. And then you are struck with emergency situations. And it isn't easy, but if you have a passion and have a problem you want to solve in the marketplace, we are here to help you. So we're all on Zoom today, and you probably have used Zoom many times, but I would love it if you could use the chat button that looks like this little bubble, and ask questions along the way. I'm happy to answer them. I just wanted to start out the day by thinking about what's one positive moment that made you smile recently. I always like to get started off on a positive note. I feel like when you manifest, or when you think about positive things, you manifest positivity in your life. So when you're stuck, it helps to think about positive things. I lost my husband exactly 9 months ago today. So I am working through this every day, trying to maintain positivity in the midst of devastation. So I always look for something that makes me smile. And I'm going to go first. And if you want to share something that made you smile, I'd appreciate it. I was, I was traveling and I saw a rainbow in the sky, and it made me so happy. It made me smile. It made me feel like there's hope. Does anyone else want to share anything that made you smile?
I can share. I just got back from Mexico, and of course, just it was a solo trip, and being in the ocean just made me feel so at peace and so happy. And so that's kind of like my inner resource whenever I'm having a hard time. I just go there mentally
Yeah,
and just think about how beautiful our world actually is.
I know. That's so true. And I just got back from a solo trip to Paris. So
Amazing.
I hadn't done a solo trip in a long time, 30 years probably. And so I was a little bit nervous about it, but it was gorgeous.
It's amazing. Yeah. I think taking a trip by yourself just really connects you with your inner self and just
Yeah,
really get to pour into like what you want and who you are and the things that drive you. So I highly recommend.
I do too. Yes. I get a little lonely, but then you just figure out,
Hmm.
okay, I'm going to go on a walk then.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Mhm. Thank you for
Thank you for
letting me
sharing.
share. Yeah. Thank you for letting me.
Does anyone else have anything that made them smile?
Good morning, I can share. So
Okay.
every morning when I see my daughter's face, that
Oh,
makes me smile.
I bet.
So yeah, so that gives me the power.
How old is she?
9. She just
Oh,
turned 9
nice.
years old. Yeah.
That's a great age too.
Yes.
My kids, my eldest is 30 and my other two are in their 20s. So
Wow.
I miss that time, but they still make me smile. So
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
thanks for sharing.
I'll share. I'm gonna post a picture in the chat.
Ah,
And for some reason I was searching this website and this picture popped up, and I've just saved it to my quick links, my favorites. And anytime I'm like really like forward browse, I just like click on it and I see this little guy. I don't have any idea who he is. I don't know if you can see him in the chat,
oh
but
yes.
he reminds me of my son when he was that age, but I can't think of my son at that age anymore. So I can't like look at one of my son's pictures because he's not that same person. But I like to believe that this kid is still this age somewhere out there. And like, yeah, when I see that face, it makes me smile. Like I said, it reminds me of my own son. So
Yeah, that is
that's
so
my happy picture.
yeah. It's so nice to have something to go back to, right? When you're
Mhm.
feeling a little stuck or down or yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing.
I'd like to share. I know I'm not on camera. I was trying to find my picture, but I could not. So, I think for me, what really made me happy this week, I'm turning 50 in August, and everyone keeps saying I don't look like it. So, in the midst of planning, I realized like I just wanted to have something small and simple. And I started realizing the power that I have within me, to not just put everyone first, but to put me first when it concerns things. So it made me happy to just think, um, I know people are disappointed because I'm kind of like that. I would say maybe I'm always willing to help, doesn't matter. But I have the tendency to put others first before me, but the power within me to actually say no and put myself first. And my 2 children actually made me happy this week. So I
Good.
can tell my therapist I'm making progress.
Oh, good.
Because I'm also in grief counseling. My mother passed, and then
Oh,
my daughter's father, like, unexpectedly. So it's been a whirlwind of like back to back. So dealing with everything and just honing in on my power that I have within me.
yes. Hugs and love to you.
Thank you.
And yes, I don't know, I'm older too, or I'm not going to say two, I'm older. And yes, it's a beautiful time of life though, if we can get past the aging and the wrinkles.
Yes, and I say seasoned. We're not older, we're
Right,
seasoned.
we're seasoned. Yes. Well, thank you for sharing. And
You're welcome.
what a nice way to get started. I enjoy hearing other people's stories. Okay. So this is what we're going to do today. We are going to form connections. We just did a little bit of that. Complete a self-assessment. So you're going to take a little test to see how ready you are to start your business. Discuss the steps of starting a business. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about legal entities also. So let me tell you a little bit at the Women's Business Development Center. We say we ignite business growth, and we do that through connections, capital, and contracts. So access to connections, access to capital, and access to contracts. First of all, we have the connection side of things, and this is really where my team is found under this umbrella, the connection side of things. We offer no cost one-on-one business advice and management assistance. We offer assistance with the development of business model canvases and business plans. I really like to work with the model canvas until you are really sure about what you want to offer. And then you can do the 20-page business plan. And you don't even need it unless you are trying to access capital, or investors sometimes will want to have a business plan. We help with the beginning parts of accessing corporate and government contracts and exporting contracts. We offer assistance with financial analysis and planning. I love to do the work with numbers. And so I will help you do your financial projections. We can sit down and brainstorm about where you think your business is going. We have some team members that help with technology, innovation, and entrepreneurial development, and then help with accessing marketing and market information and the development of marketing plans. We've had a bunch of lunch and learns around marketing, so keep checking our website for webinars that interest you. And then access to business education and training opportunities. My team also offers Plan for Profit, which is a 8-week course that takes you from an idea, hopefully up through revenue, through your market research to make sure that your idea is desirable. So we also offer access to capital. We have some team members that are former bankers, former financial managers, and they can help you, look at your personal credit, see how to improve that. Also to help you get loan ready. So my team helps you get a business plan done, and then Access to Capital will take it from there and match you with sources of bank loans or Kiva loans, to see what would fit your business the best. Access to capital is the hardest part of our jobs, though, because there is not much capital out there. It's hard. And there are really not many grants at all. There are some in our website. There's a list of current grant opportunities, but it's like searching through a database of college scholarships. They're really particular and niche based. And then access to contracts, like I said before, we help you with the beginning phases of access to contracts. Once you're ready to take on a contract with the government or with a corporation or exporting, then we have 3 teams. Each team does one of those skills, has one of those skills. They help you with accessing government contracts or corporate contracts or exporting contracts. So if you could put your name, your business name, if applicable. I know you're here at starting your business in Illinois, so maybe you haven't had a name, gotten a name yet, but think about the problem you want to solve. And that's the way we have to think about our business. The number one reason for a business failure, a startup failure, is that there's lack of market need. So in my community, there was a shop that opened up that sold candles, and it was the cutest shop, but it was large, and she didn't get enough business to pay her rent. So she didn't have enough market need. Maybe if she had found a really small space, she could have paid the rent. But you want to make sure that you are going to have enough demand for your product or service that you can pay your bills and pay you. So think about the problem you want to solve. And if you could put it in the chat, that would be great. And if you want to leave your email addresses there, maybe someone here today is in a similar industry or knows someone that you want to get to know, or, is just available for a coffee. So why don't we take a minute here and you put in your name and business name, problem you want to solve.
In my case, I don't have a business yet, so I'm still like just in the idea,
Okay,
in the idea phase. So
well, you can put in your idea, the problem
Uh-huh.
you want to solve.
Okay.
For your idea. Or put in a few ideas if you don't have one. I know I was working with someone yesterday and she wants to do either consulting or photography. So she's working on both ideas, trying to do her market research. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. Oh, here we go. Ileana, she wants to have a flower shop. Great. So I recommend, Ileana,
Mhm.
that you go and talk to other floral shops and maybe even if you could work at one for a couple hours a week or intern just so you can learn the business if you haven't had experience in the business. I always like people to really see what the business is like.
Mhm.
And sometimes people will take, an intern or pay you for a couple hours a week.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And in the area where I live in Oak Park. I only see one flower shop. I haven't seen another one. And of course, like when you want to buy flowers, you go to the groceries. But like there are not like many flower shops around.
Okay. Well then, yeah, maybe it's a good idea for your community, but I would just see if you can gain experience somehow learning how they do the business.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep.
Okay, Brandy, no business name, fresh juice delivery. Okay, great. And then Andrea does phytonutraceuticals. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still working on like it sent before I was ready for it to send twice. So I'm still working on the problem I want to solve or submitting that.
Okay. Great. Thank you for sharing. We're not going to do this activity today. We'll do this. How do you feel? Put a 1 if you are sad about starting your business. 2 if you are confused. 3 if you're really happy about it. 4, it looks like she's angry. And 5 is ready, set, don't go, hesitant. So let's see what you say. Oh, Donna's solving HR issues. That's good. Ileana, you are a little confused, so that's why you're here today. Hopefully we will get you
Exactly.
into a 3.
Yeah.
Now, what was 3 again? I apologize.
3 is happy. Can you see the picture here? There's a happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, good. We've got some 3s. That's great. Okay, hopefully you are a 3+ by the end of today or the end of this session. Okay, here's the assessment we talked about. So I want you to take 3 minutes to answer the following questions and then count the number of yes answers you have. So I'll give you 3 minutes, so till 10:22, and then you'll count the number of yes answers. Okay, hopefully everyone got the opportunity to finish this little assessment. We'd like to see that you had a 10 or greater. And I'll go over why we use some of these questions. Some of them seem a little odd, but in order to be an unstoppable entrepreneur, you need to be self-aware, number one. So you need to know yourself, know your emotions, know how to get clarity, like we spoke about in our first What Makes You Smile journey. Know what makes you anxious and know how to get yourself unstuck. So I know that if I'm feeling sad or down, I can ride a bike or go running, and that getting my heart rate up really helps me get back to clarity and focus. You need to be confident because people are going to challenge you all the time. They're going to say, why are you doing this? What do you think you're doing? So you need to be confident and really be self-assured that you are solving a problem and be passionate about that problem. You need to be observant. You need to know the marketplace, know the industry, know your customers and your prospective customers. You need to be persistent. This is really a big one. Number 4, I work with so many people and they are persistent for the first few weeks and then it gets hard and they take a step back. Taking a step back is fine, but you have to get back in the game and keep going. I mean, even to start the business, there are 10 or 15 steps you have to go through. So you have to be persistent and keep working hard. And social media is the same. You have to be persistent. You have to post consistently, get your message out there, start getting a following if that's your way of marketing. And then economic stability is really a necessity. We don't like you going into your 401k plans to finance your business. We would prefer that you have, an emergency savings somewhere, 3 to 6 months of savings, because the first year will be difficult. You also have to think about these questions when you're thinking about your business. Who else is affected by your decision? Are they supportive of your work? Again, your confidence is going to have to be strong. What are my financial backup plans? So if you do have a downturn, where do you go to get the money? Because money it takes time to get. So if you come into an emergency need, it might be difficult to access a loan, a bank loan. Does the anticipated time commitment fit in with my life goals? And maybe you're making a business that does. More power to you, that allows you to have travel, time with your family, etc. Make enough money so that you can do these things on the side or do your business on the side. So just think about those questions and that assessment. Here are 5 steps for starting a business, and we're going to go into each of these. So number 1, we talked about a little bit, solve a problem, be able to state it succinctly. You want to do your research around the problem you think you're solving, make sure the market has that problem, keep testing it. So yesterday I spoke with a woman who wants to offer education to young girls, to build their confidence. And so she was going to develop a pilot educational program to test whether there was enough interest from young girls and their families in her idea. So that was her method of researching and testing. Once she had that pilot, and maybe she would charge for the pilot, see how much people would pay for her pilot and see if she could really make money doing this. And then after you've come up with a firm idea, you can you do your business plan. It will still change because you're gonna have to change your business based on customer needs. And so your plan is a living document. And then you want to build after you've planned. You just want to build the foundation of your business. So number one is solve a problem. What problem are you solving? What issue are you dealing with? So here is an example of a problem being solved. Can anyone tell me what the problem is in this photo?
Not enough taxi drivers available or ways of transportation.
Right. So it's inclement weather and the taxi drivers look like they're already fully booked. So this is the problem they're solving. We're helping people go anywhere and get anything. And do you know what the solution was or is?
Would it be something like Uber?
Yes. Yes. So Uber, their problem they solve and their motto is we help you get anywhere and anything. And these are two companies, Uber and Segway, have similar problems that they solve. They both offer transportation throughout an area. The problem is Segway did not do enough research. There are still some Segways, but they're not as popular as they were originally. In fact, I don't even know if they're available in Chicago anymore. I have been on one, but it wasn't in Chicago. I did see them when I was in Paris last week. Not very many, a few of them, but Segway thought that people would spend money on these Segways that are $3,000. And they thought people would ride them through cities. And they're difficult, they're not easy to ride, and they can be dangerous. So I am not sure where they did their research. So it's just an example of how much research you should do. They're both solving the same problem, but you want to make sure there's enough market need. And maybe Segway, instead of trying to sell them to individuals, could sell them to city government, which I bet that's what they're doing now. But I don't know that they're making very much money. So here are a few problems that some companies that you know solve. So Facebook says they help you connect and share with people in your life. DHL moves the world. Virgin Airlines makes flying good again. And SpaceX enables people to live on other planets. I don't know who has that problem. I don't want to live on another planet, but I know some people are interested in going to Mars. So number two, after you have come up with the problem you think you're going to solve, you have to do your research. So the objective of the market research is to become an expert within your industry in which your business fits, and also learn more about the target market or ideal market on which your business is based. So that's why I say work in the floral, if you can, work at a florist, because you'll learn about the industry, you learn about who comes into the flower shop, you'll learn what they buy, what they spend, how to manage the business. If you can get a job within the industry that you want to open a shop in or open a business in, that is a great idea, especially if it's a brick and mortar. If you already are a thought leader or, you know, an expert on a certain topic, and you want to become a consultant on that topic, then, I mean, it always helps to work with another researcher that's an expert in that topic also, on that topic also. But it's less, you know, you don't have to worry about inventory and rent and paying all those expenses. So just something to consider. So there are two different types of research: primary sources, which are really the best methods of getting your data. So by personally observing people and seeing if they have the problem you want to solve, doing a few focus groups, doing some surveys, interviews one-on-one are really a great way to test people. And then product testing, or like I said, the pilot testing of your services. These are the best. If you can get people to pay for their for your service or your product, that's really the best way to do your market research. Interviews are terrific, one-on-one interviews, but people will say they're going to buy and they don't always follow through. Sales are your real tests, are the real, proof that your product has product market fit, we call it. So you also want some information on general market trends and on your community. If you're opening up a store, are there other florists around? And you can do that at here's one example, the business library. Harold Washington Library has great business librarians. Your local library probably does too, or your local library probably has access to some of these databases that help you do your own research. Private sources, the internet is a great secondary source of information. ChatGPT, if you haven't used that, is a great way to get secondary market research. And then the topics you want to consider are target market, industry, and who are your competitors. And competition is not always bad. In fact, I'm working with a number of customers, a number of clients whose competition is their friends, and they talk to them monthly and they refer business back and forth. I have a client who makes cookies and she does really well at selling her cookies. And sometimes she's got too many cookie customers. So she'll refer them to another cookie maker in the industry that she's friends with. So we've gone through number one is, come up with the problem you're solving. Number two is do your market research and then test your idea. So have you tested your idea? And we talked about doing interviews, because I already talked about this. Why do businesses fail? Excuse me. The number one reason for failure is making something that nobody wants. No market need. And so I talked about the candle shop. She made she made candles that some people wanted, but not enough people. I had a client who created beautiful greeting cards. Oh, they were gorgeous. But she sold them online and she wanted to create a subscription model for millennials. So she wanted people to purchase her cards online. And millennials don't buy cards online. They don't send very many cards. So she didn't do enough market research. So what she ended up doing was placing her beautiful greeting cards into boutiques. So then when people ran into a boutique for a gift at the last minute, they could see her cards on the shelves, and she got some business that way. So you always have to research where your customers are. So think about how you can test your idea. How much do you know about your market? How much do you know about your customer demand? Have you validated your idea? And that means, have you had sales through customer interviews, through surveys, and through actual sales? You can always start with a survey, use SurveyMonkey and send it out through a Facebook group or through the Chamber of Commerce or through an association or through a friend group. Survey people and then have them, have the option to give you their email address. And once they do, then you can reach out to them to see if you could meet with them one-on-one to do a customer interview and learn more. So here are 3 experiments to use to grow, to test. One is the customer interview. So you talk to people and you focus on exploring. So it's really not a sales job. It is really asking them if they have the problem you're going to solve. What are their pains and gains? And their willingness to pay you, and how much do you think they'll pay you? Customer survey I talked about, write an open-ended questionnaire. And then another way to do it is a social media campaign. So if you have a product-based business, you can always take photos of your products, and Instagram and Pinterest are great with photos and beautiful pictures of your products. And if your target, you have to think about where your ideal market goes to social media though. If they're not on Instagram or Pinterest, then it doesn't make sense to be there either. LinkedIn is a great way to start your thought leadership, or start your writing about what you're an expert about. So you can, do a weekly blog or a weekly post on the area of interest in which you are an expert, and start talking to people about what you believe, your experiences, what you found, statistics, data. And then in either of these instances, start socializing with the people that show an interest in your ideas, in your products, or your services. And then see if you can get them to go to your website. So say, check out my website. And then from there, see if you can get their email address. So then you can grow your network of people and talk to them and keep them involved in your business. Any questions? Okay. Once you have chosen the problem you're going to solve, done your market research, done your testing, gotten some sales or some proof that your concept is going to work, then and only then is it time to write a business plan. If you do it beforehand, you're probably going to learn something that will make your business plan not even worth it anymore. So writing a business plan means answering some of these questions. What problem are you solving again? What do you do better, or really not even better, but differently than others? Because you think about it, how many business coaches are there out there? I mean, I see them on LinkedIn every day. There are hundreds of them. But one of them or two of them are going to appeal to me because they're different than the others. They have something unique about themselves that interests me. It may not interest you or anyone else, but just know that you just have to be a little bit different than your competition. Who is your ideal market? So are you thinking about appealing to women, men, young children, a certain demographic, a market that's interested in wellness, a market that's interested in getting over their loss? So think about who your ideal market is, and you'll learn more while you're doing your interviews. Who is your competition? And you need to learn what they charge so you can determine what your pricing should be. How much will you charge? How will you charge? Will it be by project, by hour, by item? How much money do you plan to make? And what does success look like for you? I mean, success, I've heard people say, yesterday I had someone say, success is just making sure that I appeal to young girls and can make them more confident. She didn't say anything about revenue. She didn't say anything about her family plans or her financial. So think about what success looks like for you. I like people to set that goal. I mean, maybe you want to make $50,000 this year, or $50 million this year. Or maybe you just want to have more time to yourself. So think about what success looks like for you and go for it. And then I want you to think about building your business properly. So you need to investigate your startup and monthly costs, because from there you're going to create your cash flow projections and know whether you'll make enough money. The way you get to know your startup and monthly costs is by talking to others in your industry or other entrepreneurs, because although you'll be doing different businesses, you'll have similar legal fees and marketing fees and insurance. So you can find out this information from other people. Choose your company location. Are you going to have a brick and mortar? Are you going to have a salon suite? Are you going to have an office space? Are you going to work from home? Are you going to just be an online business? Choose your company name. Yesterday I worked with someone and she wanted to choose a certain name, and we went on the Illinois Secretary of State website and it was already taken. You want to make sure that it is not taken, because you could create your marketing materials in that name and then get a letter in the mail or an email saying cease using this name. You'll get a cease and desist letter from their lawyers saying stop using that name. We already are using it. So make sure it's not taken. Reserve your URL, your domain name. Choose your legal structure and comply with all the regulations around that. Yes, Donna?
I have a question. I actually chose my name,
Mhm.
and I started doing the research, I think I'm sorry, let me turn this fan. I started doing some research and I noticed the name was being used throughout I think a couple of states. So does that mean I need to use it? I think there's something in Illinois, like I actually saw where it was inactive, but it is being used in I think Illinois and a couple of other states.
I mean, I would try to steer clear of using something that someone else is using. I mean, it might be okay, but I know people who have heard that, been told to stop using the name, and they've already created their website, they've created their business cards, they've created their marketing materials, they've created their outdoor split, their signage, and they had to get rid of all that.
Okay.
So it's expensive. So I would try not to use someone else's.
So we should go on the state of Illinois.
The Secretary of State of Illinois, yes. If you email me, I can send you a list of startup steps. Let me put my email in the chat.
Thank you.
And that has the specific websites to go to. You want to get your tax ID number, get your Illinois tax ID number, satisfy registration, and get your business license. If you're in the city of Chicago, you will need a business license for even a home-based business. They require licenses for everything. Open your bank account. You want to have a business bank account and a separate personal bank account. You will definitely have to insure your company. You might need to bond your company. If you're going into other people's homes, then you'll need to bond your company. So if you're a cleaning business, find a bookkeeper or accountant to help with tax questions. And then this is a new task that you need to do. File your beneficial ownership information report within 90 days of registering your business. Okay, so we have about 14 minutes and I will go through legal entities. So this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not legal advice. I am a lawyer, but I cannot give legal advice in my role here at the Women's Business Development Center. I don't have malpractice insurance, so this is just education. The types of legal entities we're going to go over, these are the most popular. There may be others that you've heard of, but we're going to talk about being a sole proprietor, a partner, having a C corporation, having an LLC, and then having a PLLC or professional LLC. And then you've probably heard of an S corporation, but that's not really a type of legal entity. It is rather a tax election. So LLCs and C corporations may choose an S election by filling out this tax form 2553. And after choosing the S election, the company is then called an S corporation. So you can talk to your accountant about the benefits of an S election. There is a certain amount of money that you want to make, and then there are benefits of an S election. I believe it's over $50,000 a year. But talk to your accountant. I am not an accountant. I love finance, but I do not enjoy accounting. So sole proprietor is the simplest form of business entity, but the owner is personally liable for all debts and obligations. So we don't recommend sole proprietorship. You can be a sole proprietor maybe for the first couple months of your business, but even then, depending on what you are doing, if you are a sole proprietor and let's say you're selling banana bread and someone eats your banana bread and is allergic to something in the banana bread and they sue you. If you are a sole proprietor, your house and your personal car and your personal savings are all subject to the lawsuit. So if they sue you and win money, your wages can be garnished. They can take money from your equity in your house. So we never recommend being a sole proprietor. A sample one, oh, here's the florist. You maybe could do this for a couple months, but if someone, I don't know, cut themselves on a sharp, I don't know. People will do strange things and people will sue for anything. But here's just an example, an independent florist, a single individual, not a separate legal entity, and unlimited personal liability. A partnership, this is where two or more individuals join forces to run a business together and they don't have a legal entity. Each person is personally liable for all debts and obligations of the partnership. So if your partner does something wrong, all of your personal assets are also included in the partnership, in the lawsuit. So even though your partner did something wrong, your assets can be subject to the lawsuit. So here's an example, a consulting firm, two or more owners formed by a partnership agreement, and each person has unlimited personal liability. We don't recommend a partnership like this either. You can have a partnership, but have a legal entity. So a C corporation, and that's why this umbrella is here, is that you are protected by this legal entity. It's a separate legal entity from the owners. The owners are called shareholders. So for example, I own shares in Microsoft. And so I am an owner of Microsoft. I don't own very many shares, a couple shares, but I am an owner of a part owner of Microsoft. If they get sued, I will not be sued as an owner. There's limited liability for the shareholders. So my personal assets are protected. If you set up a C corporation, you're subject to complex tax and legal requirements. You have a complex management structure and you need a board of directors. A C corporation may be favored by investors. Some people will want to only invest in C corporations, but LLCs are getting a lot more popular and investors will consider LLC legal entities. So here's the C corporation example, a high-tech company like Microsoft. It's got a separate legal entity with shareholders as the owners. They've got a board of directors, limited personal liability for the shareholders. The one thing about the C corporation is that it is taxed at the corporate level. So the corporation, Microsoft pays taxes, and I also have to pay taxes on my dividends. So you get dividends, well, you don't always, but you can get dividends as a shareholder of a corporation. And then this is the most popular amongst my clients, our clients, is the limited liability company. And you notice the umbrella here, separate legal entity from its owners. The owners are sometimes called members instead of shareholders. Limited liability for the members, meaning their personal assets are protected. And there's flexibility in management and flexibility in taxation. So here's an example, a smoothie shop, a separate legal entity with some members, an operating agreement. This is important, lays out the ownership structure. So in your operating agreement, you want to say, you know, I own 100% of this legal entity, or if you're in a partnership, I own 51% and my partner owns 49%. You want to have an exit agreement in your operating agreement. So if your partner says, I don't want to work with you anymore, you have it all laid out as to how much money they'll get when they exit or when you exit. Limited personal liability, and then taxation is flexible. Again, you can elect to get S corporation status. And then there are these professional limited liabilities companies. It's a separate legal entity from its owners or members. If you are a licensed professional, such as a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, architect, and others who provide services requiring a state-issued professional license, then you're going to want to get a PLLC. So when you get licensed, I know I'm licensed as a lawyer, and I have to do a number of continuing legal education as part of being licensed. And that state licensing board looks at my continuing legal ed. So I am subject to those regulations or other regulations if I were to set up my own business. Limited liability for members, meaning your personal assets would be protected. Members must be licensed professionals. And there is some flexibility in management and taxation. Again, you would use an operating agreement to lay out the responsibilities and the ownership and the exit clauses. Here's an example of a law office, separate legal entity with members. Members are all licensed lawyers. Operating agreement lays out the ownership structure, limited personal liability, and taxation is flexible. So here's a summary. If you want to take a picture of this, if that helps, talks about the type of legal entity, the liability, so unlimited personal liability here in the sole proprietorship and partnership. That's why we don't recommend it. Limited liability, and then taxation issues, and the management can be owner of the sole proprietor is one person, shared by the partnership. A board of directors becomes the management, and then a member manager becomes the management. And this is all discussed in your operating agreement. In a C corporation, it's called bylaws. Okay. Any questions? We have like 4 minutes.
Yes, I wanted to know, someone told me that a DBA doing business as is the same thing as an LLC. Isn't that inaccurate?
That is not true. A DBA just says you're doing business as, and you name your business something else. So you could get an LLC in one name and then say you're doing business as, and you have to fill out that form. Or a sole proprietor, you have one name, let's say you name your company Maura Mitchell Consulting, but I decided to sell some banana bread. So then I'm selling, beautiful banana bread. So I would say doing business as beautiful banana bread. But I have to fill out this form, a DBA form.
Thank you. But it
Sure.
still has to be registered under
Yes.
a legal,
registered.
okay,
Yes. Uh-huh.
thank you.
Uh-huh. So today we formed connections, completed a self-assessment, and we talked about the steps of starting a business and learned about legal entities. Any other questions? So if you email me, I can send you those startup steps. And though there are some websites to look at, especially if you're choosing your name and the steps you need to take. Okay, so then I'm going to say goodbye, and I want you to have a wonderful day. Enjoy your Wednesday. I hope this was helpful, and we look forward to talking to you in our one-on-one no-cost advising sessions. So please sign up for one of those. There are a number of us that do advising. There are probably 20 advisors at the Women's Business Development Center, and we're all happy to help you. And the beauty of having so many advisors is that if I'm not an expert in what you need, there's usually someone here, because there are so many of us, that can help you. So we'll refer you to someone else. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you find something today that makes you smile.
Thank you, Maura.
Thank you,
Sure.
Maura.
Thank you, Laura.
Sure.
Have a good day,
Bye-bye.
everyone.